Alright, Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praise, honor, and glory to our due. How about Shimon Shabbat Shalom Chakadas? Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, who grew well, who taught the truth. Salutations to the sincere brother out there who preaches truth and edifying the brothers who are cited diligence. And salutations to the lecture scattered abroad throughout the four corners of the earth. And salutations to any Agwaf who may watch. Today, the brother at Wab come back to you today through the Spirit of Yahweh Shimon Shabbat Shalom Chakadas with another lesson. This is going in on the locust outbreak, because that's what I was seeing in the I was going through my news feed and I seen it pop up and I read it, and Lord willing, video that this lesson is edifying. And it says, this was 2 hours ago from NBC News. It says, a plague amid a pandemic. East Africa, West Asia combats surging locust outbreak. It said the UN Food and Agriculture Organization estimates 450 billion pests, or locusts, have been killed since January, but the battle against the massive crop-destroying swarms is far from over. So they've killed 450 billion locusts since January, man. It says, when the skies darkened suddenly over Michael Gadabuz's 10-acre farm in Nakuru County, Kenya, what came pouring down stunted millions of desert locusts. It says it was like a storm. Gadabuz said by telephone, it was like hell. They covered everywhere, even there was no sun. That was 3 months ago. Although Gadabuz said he was lucky that the damage from the insects was minimal, he fears the outbreak that has plagued swaths of Africa, the Middle East, and Asia for the past 2 years will return to ravage his maize and bean crops. And this is just a plague and judgment from the Lord, man. Let's watch this little around 43-second video.
What are you using?
They thought some water from a fire truck was gonna help though. It says, as the pests began to migrate again in the second half of June, experts warned that without continuous aid to mitigate the spread, the devastation could leave millions of people in at least 23 countries hungry by the end of the year. There is nothing we can do. They are not here, but they might come, Gadabus said. The loss of his crops could leave him, his wife, and their 4 children struggling. I'm very worried, he said. It says, desert locusts are a migratory pest from the grasshopper family. You heard that, from the grasshopper family. Even with a lifespan of only 3 months, they can, under the right conditions, multiply up to 20-fold in just one generation and mature to behave as a coherent unit. Coherent. Let's get that word, coherent. United as or formed. Where is it at? United or as or forming a whole, having a consent phase, so they on one accord together, forming massive swarms that feast on green vegetation, according to the UN Food and Agriculture Organization, or FAO. This is a perfect storm or favorable weather, poor monitoring, particularly in conflict zones, and challenges in getting access to resources in regions because of the coronavirus pandemic has sparked the crisis, allowing locusts to reach a scale unseen in decades, experts said. Jump down a little bit. It said there are fears that the insects could move even farther into West Africa, threatening some of the poorest countries in the world, said Melissa Williams, a senior rural development specialist for the World Bank. Meanwhile, other swarms that in recent weeks have feasted in India and Pakistan, especially Punjab and Sindh provinces, could cycle through the region. This is the worst transboundary pest in the world, Williams said. They don't need passports, so they'll just keep going. And that word transboundary, that word transboundary means moving or having effect across a boundary or boundaries. It says spraying pesticides is the most effective way to control desert locusts. And not always pesticides is good for your crops, man. It says let's get this other one. Let's go through these little pictures. Look at all these locusts, man. It says in April, the Food Program's head, David Beasley, warned the UN Security Council of a looming hunger pandemic. The combination of crises from wars to the burgeoning locust plague could result in as many as 300,000 deaths a day from starvation by the end of the year, he said. So you see, man, the Lord is not playing. Let's just get this little article with desert locusts. Remember the desert locust. It says new larger wave of locusts threatens millions in Africa. It says billions of the young desert locusts are winging in from breeding grounds in Somalia in search of fresh vegetation springing up with seasonal rains. So these are the new generation of locusts. In the article it said that they're young adults. So the other ones was they're old. Shit, damn near, I guess, almost 3 months old. But these are probably like a month old. 2 months old, young adults. It says weeks before the coronavirus spread through much of the world, parts of Africa were already threatened by another kind of plague, the biggest locust outbreak some countries have seen in 70 years. Now the second wave of the voracious insects, some 20 times the size of the first, is arriving. Billions of the young desert locusts are winging in from breeding grounds in Somalia in search of fresh vegetation. It says millions of already vulnerable people are at risk, and as they gather to try to combat the locusts, often in vain, that word, in vain, let me see if I can get it. I ain't gonna let it. It's like futile. Futile. To no avail. Without success. Let's get it. They risk spreading the virus, a topic that comes a distant second for many in rural areas. Says the UN Food and Agriculture Organization has called the locust outbreak caused in part by climate change an unprecedented threat to food security and livelihoods. Its officials have called this new wave some 20 times the size of the first. It says favorable breeding conditions through May mean there likely will be another new round of swarms in late June and July, coinciding with the start of the harvest season, the agency said. It says the new swarms include young adults, ferocious bugs that eat more than the adult ones, said Kenneth Wangi, a satellite information analyst at the center. That's about it on that one. So you see, man, Lord is starting to send plagues on this earth. Let me just get no, I was looking at little memes. I ain't gonna get too many because I just thought some of them was funny. I'm just gonna get this one. It says global disease spreading, locusts decimate Africa, earthquakes in Utah. It says people who've read Revelations. Oh yeah, it's all coming together. Oh yeah, and this one it says what is that? Oh yeah, it says right here, it says hundreds of billions of locusts swarming East Africa, and then it has the dude saying that's another one for apocalypse. Bingo. And then oh yeah, and also China has sent China also sent 100,000 ducks to try to stop the spread. It says China prepares 100,000 ducks to battle Pakistan's locust swarm. A single duck can eat more than 200 locusts a day. And then the dude in the comments said, "Release the quacking." And then this one says China sending 100,000 strong duck armies to Pakistan to fight locust places. And then I have duck covered in red saying peace was never an option. That's all I'm gonna get. But I just thought them were funny. But this was back last year, July 27, 2019. But this was when a grasshopper invasion was in Las Vegas. Many of y'all would know, or should know. I ain't gonna get into the article. I just gonna watch this little thing and then get some scriptures. But it said that, as I was reading in the other article, it said that the grasshopper is cousins to the desert locust. So you see, man, that it may just be grasshoppers, but there's just foreshadowing what is to come.
Right across from the mirage.
You don't need to wait in line to join the club.
I cannot even take this. Oh my God.
So you see, man, that there's this foreshadowing what is to come. It's like it. Just get scripture. 2nd Ezra chapter 15. From the top, behold, speak thou in the ear of my people the word of prophecy, which I will put in thy mouth, said the Lord, and cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true. Fear not the imaginations against thee. Let not the incredulity of them trouble thee that speak against thee. For all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness. Behold, said the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction. For wickedness hath exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their hurtful works are fulfilled. Therefore said the Lord, I will hold my tongue no more as touching the wickedness which they profanely commit, neither will I suffer them in those things in which they wickedly exercise themselves. Behold, the innocent righteous blood crieth unto me, and the soul of the just complain continually. And therefore said the Lord, I will surely avenge them, and receive unto me all the innocent blood from among them. Behold, my people is led as a flock to the slaughter. I will not suffer them now to dwell in the land of Egypt, but I will bring them with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm, and smite Egypt with plagues as before. and would destroy all the land thereof. And that's talking about, Babylon the Great. Because, let me just get that. Revelation 11, verse 8. And their dead bodies shall line the streets of the great city, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt, where also our Lord was crucified. So that Egypt is talking about, America, Babylon the Great. But as I said, it's just that grasshopper was foreshadowing, so them locusts will be over here. Because the plagues that Lord did before was locusts to the first Egypt before he split the Red Sea with Moses and them. And you see that the coronavirus didn't start in America. It started across the seas in China. You see, what else? What's it called? The rioting. They started riots over across seas first, and now it's over to America. And now the locusts are over across seas, and that's gonna come to America, man. So everything really starts. The world sees the plagues and everything before America does, man. So the rest of the world is gonna see things pop off before America does, because it all ends with America being destroyed. And that grasshopper was just foreshadowing, man. Egypt shall mourn, verse 12. Egypt shall mourn, and the foundations of it shall be smitten with the plague and punishment that the Most High shall bring upon it. Get one more, Matthew 24. This is red letter, man. Just get straight to the point. Did I pass it? Yeah. So just get straight to the point. Matthew 24 and verse 7. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. All these are the beginning of sorrows. So we coming up on everything, man. We just like the Kronk said from that little meme. That's another one for the end of the world bingo. Until your house shall come bingo. We need to get that diagonal or vertical match, man. And really, we need to get it all covered. We need to get the whole bingo card covered, man. But that's all I had. Barak Yahweh Hashem Shabbat Chakadash for putting the spirit on me to do this lesson. Like I said, Kahalim La Yahweh Hashem Shabbat Chakadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who wrote, who taught the truth. Shalom to the sincere brother after he preached the truth and then find the verses where I said the diligence. And shalom to the elect scattered abroad throughout the four corners of the earth. And shalom to any Agwaf who may have watched. But when the video was edifying to spirit to the body to fold. Until next time, shalom. Kwame Yashala.